to the contrary to that, I really don't see that there's an issue. And if there is, I think I should be able to know who is saying it, who's pointing the finger, and figure out what the motives are. And I also want to make sure, I mean, I hope that, you know, after our meeting today, that there's not going to be some other ordinance that the city of Pleasant Hill, you know, comes up with to, you know, further restrict, you know, what I do with that property. I mean, as long as it's a family. I mean, this is clearly, I mean, it just seems so discriminatory, and, you know, I mean, it's
Well,
years.
We definitely don't intend, you know, to.
Well, it sure feels like that. Well, it sure feels like that, you know.
We're just trying to find out.
I mean, there's so many things going on in this city, Greg. I mean, you know, there is a, you know, auto repair shop right next door to me. You know,
Is
that
he
the
still
city,
doing stuff?
the city's been aware of that for years.
We've contacted.
And, you know, I mean, that, he does that with regularity, again.
Gary, is that his name?
I don't know his name. I think he's just a crazy man. I don't want to talk to him. I mean, you see those no trespassing signs and cutting down the trees and stuff like that. And then again, David Durant's, sign or, a fence that you can look through so the drug addicts would get back there and put their needles in their arms and stuff like that. I mean, just bizarre stuff like that. And, so he's a very annoying human being, and then again, right in back of me, Percy's large family daycare center. They don't have off-street parking. They don't have adequate off-street parking. And if we talk about safety issues, that's on a blind court there. There's no place to turn around, drop off and pick up. I mean, this has been going on, and they're right around there, and they're pointing the finger, and we're so involved with this project, and then again. You guys established this ordinance so that I can't do anything there except have a family, and that's what we're having. But these things just continue to go on. I mean, it feels like a witch hunt, Greg. Does the city council know that we're having this meeting? Who else knows? Does the city attorney know? Do you have to report back to these people?
Well, I wanted to kind of touch on what we were going to do, happening as a result of this meeting. So this was just, intended to try to find out what the facts are, because, we received some allegations, and we just wanted to try to come to you directly and find out, from your perspective, what's going on. So we really appreciate getting that, information from you, and what we're going to do is kind of review what you gave us, discuss it with the city attorney, and then determine, if there are any further questions that we have, or if there is any kind of an inconsistency with the ordinance. And if there is, then we'll let you know, and we can talk about, what needs to be done to address it. It is a new ordinance, so, we're all kind of plowing new ground here on how to apply it. And it sounds like you initiated your use right around the time the ordinance was adopted. So, it's going to be kind of take a little, legal analysis to figure out.
Well, I think I'm in compliance with the ordinance.
So, but
It's
it sounds
not-
like what your intent is to
Have
be
a
in
family.
compliance
Exactly.
with the ordinance by living together as a family.
As a family
That's
unit.
your intent.
That is my intent. And because I have no other choice. You guys tied my hands. I mean, clearly. And it was all about that. And, the whole thing about that conditional use permit, the city just made that totally fiscally impossible and so bizarre. I mean, I think about some of those restrictions, and they're the conditions of approval, a 10-foot fence with a canopy on it. Give me a break. I mean, for crying out loud. It's just such a waste of city dollars and it's the state that our government is in, and monies and stuff. And then I, see this kind of stuff going on. And then again, $1 million of federal money. To just make things worse, when you have things like Pleasant View Drive, which is right there, and then if they're worried about, those up at the Percy's and drop off and safety about kids, there's no off-street parking there. He's got his, his trailer there, and it's just ridiculous. So I'd sure like to see the city get on, those more pressing issues as far as I'm concerned, and didn't, try to disturb a family that's living together in compliance with the law and not changing the character of the neighborhood in any way. And, I know what I'm up against, I don't want to deal with the city anymore, I very much enjoy watching you guys on TV, though. And I think you guys should be the mayor, the city council, the whole thing. I think you guys are reasonable. I can't believe the patience you guys have with this back and forth talk. And even without our little buddy Williamson, there's still some bizarre questions and some bizarre stuff that you have to answer and try to, you're both very diplomatic.
Anything else that you want to share with us about?
Just that, again, I'm trying to live in peace and harmony, and if I listened to and I have them on tape, the hearings about the new city ordinance, and it's very clear what they were trying to do, and I'm trying to comply with it. I don't agree with it, but I'm trying to comply with it. I'm not trying to cause problems. We're just trying to live there in peace and harmony, and that is what we are doing. And I don't want to be subject to, somebody, says, oh, let's get back on Jordan. Let's get another case. Let's do something like this. And because if it does, I mean, it's gonna go to a whole new level, And I was burned out after that whole long process. I'm sure everybody else was, and didn't, carry it to the next step. But I had all the paperwork there, and to deal with the fair housing laws, and there's a lot of people who, offered their support because of the kind of global nature of this, and I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. I was just too tired, and now I have one choice: live there as it's a single family residence, live there as a family, and that's what we're doing. And we're not doing anything else. And I don't think anything that we've talked about here today should give anybody the impression that we're doing anything differently than that. I mean, my parents were living here in town, and, would it be a senior care facility, in Pleasant Hill? I mean, these definitions and trying to pigeonhole people and trying to, direct all this attention, this particular property and me, I find it offensive, and I just don't think it's the right thing. And I just don't want to get my back pushed up against the wall where I have no choice on what to do. So just trying to get along and live in peace and harmony. I think that's what we're doing.
If it were to help, resolve the issue of the use of the building, would it be okay for us to come over there sometime and take a look?
How would that help?
Just if there were any questions about the layout of the house. Or,
The layout hasn't changed a bit.
There are common areas that people share, and it's not. Because one of the issues is, that there would need to be common living areas and dining areas, and you can't create separate dwelling units within the building.
Right, and we don't.
So